All right, folks, it's another Friday in the land, 29 days of June. Welcome to the last edition of Journalist Hangout for the week, reaching you from here. I am Citizen Jones Hussein, and today on the program, Buhari expresses shock as 9 killed, 54 vehicles burnt in Lagos fuel tanker explosion. Imo APC crisis deepens as state suspends 4 lawmakers, and later on we'll share this with you. Scores killed, thousands displaced in Cross River EBONYI communal clash. I'm hanging out with, as usual, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Jide, I greet you. Good evening.
Welcome, Citizen Jones.
Dare Odufowokon is here. Dare, welcome.
It's a pleasure.
Okay then, the team is ready. I hope you are. Okay then, ours must be the ugliest country on the planet. Almost all inhabitants want to be best at degeneracy and uprightness at the same time. There's a known extant law about tankers plying intra-city roads in the daytime in Lagos State. This law is honored more in its breach than its observance. As avoidable as it was, the fuel tanker explosion of Thursday leaves so much sharp taste in the mouth and palate. President Muhammadu Buhari has expectedly expressed utter shock at the unfortunate incident. As far as he is concerned, the priority for now is to ensure the survival of those people who could still be in danger today. So some folks could still be in danger as we speak.
Yes, certainly there will be so many people in danger, which could drive up the casualty figure at the end of the day. Most times when you hear that people were critically injured, especially fire incidents, they ultimately do not make it because fire incidents, people lose so much blood. And at the end of the day, they give up the ghost. But I must give kudos to LASAMBUS, Lagos State Ambulance Service, because they went to the scene early. They gave first aid to the injured before transferring them to a health facility just down the road. And then, of course, RRS, the State Police Commissioner, mobilized hundreds of policemen to the scene just to help in evacuating debris from the scene. And of course, LASEMA, the emergency services people, they did a good job yesterday. Yesterday was a day like no other. Remember 10 years ago, around the same spot, there was a similar accident that claimed 15 lives and 20 vehicles were burnt. But in this case, about 54 vehicles, close to 60 vehicles were burnt. The casualty figure could have been higher, but many of these people sensibly ran out of their cars. They didn't try to do a U-turn. They didn't try to flee the scene within their cars. So that was what ensured that the casualty figure was not higher than this. A few people who tried to save one or two things from their vehicles paid with their lives in the end. Some trying to save their kids eventually got consumed by the fire. It's terrible. Just as you said in your introductory notes, there's a law in Lagos that bars these articulated trucks from moving in daytime because they are fond of causing accidents, especially on Lagos bridges. And these trucks, because they are heavy, and the bridges are not designed to carry dead weight. You and I know that they are fond of staying on those bridges almost permanently. So they weaken our bridges, they weaken our roads. And the government said, no, you can only move after 10 p.m. But that law is not being obeyed. Because if that law was being obeyed, this accident happened just before 6 p.m. That tanker had no business moving around at that time.
Yeah. Dari, you know, the war of nerves between the Lagos State authorities and the tanker drivers community or group is a never-ending one. So you are asking, is the government helpless here?
Yeah, well, why one would not want to say the government is helpless, because that would mean a lot. If the constituted authority is perceived to be helpless in a situation like this, then we're in trouble. Well, one should be quick to admit the fact that too many individuals and groups of late have been daring constituted authorities. And chief among these is tanker drivers. It is unfortunate that we wait until things like this happen before we begin to explain why it should not have happened.
And maybe peculiarly so.
Or why, how it will not happen again. Then the circle will start again, and then we'll be back here if we are not careful. There's a law.
Yeah.
The law is not being obeyed. Laws it takes two to tango. If laws are not obeyed, they are meant to be enforced. If those who are supposed to obey laws are not obeying them, what is happening to those who are meant to enforce the laws?
And sometimes you enforce these laws and provoke the
That's
human
exactly
rights.
where I'm going. See, talking about human rights, it's a matter of, one, the political will on the part of the government now, especially this tanker driver issue. I will remember that there was a time in Lagos that these laws, this particular law was well obeyed. These articulated vehicles will wait somewhere around Mowe, just before Lagos.
I recall they used to park them before the long bridge.
Yes, and that was an era when former governor of Ogun State quickly took advantage and he built a trailer park along that road to make some money for his own state. At what point then did this break down again? I remember not too long ago, tankers, arrested for disobeying some laws, and the next thing we hear is that they are going on strike.
On strike, that's what they do.
The government will say you have violated something and we are going to do it. The next thing you hear is they are going on strike. And once they do, public opinion. You see, sometimes we
change the pain that the strike inflicts on the people.
On the people. We change the hands of even the governor and the government. The people begin to say, leave their vehicle, let them alone. The price we pay for leaving them alone is what happened yesterday. The price we pay includes the life of 9 people we lost yesterday. Also, 50-something vehicles. I am not really, why one is paying that properties are being destroyed? Lives. Must we always wait until we pay? In Nigeria, we are sacrificing too many blood.
You wonder if we are a peculiar people. And why are we peculiarly so? GD 54 burnt-out vehicles, 5 buses, 2 trucks, a tricycle, and an offending tanker. Far too much a price to pay for one man's or 2 men's indiscretion.
Yeah.
It must have started from somewhere.
You see, it started from somewhere. A lot of those vehicles you see on the road are not roadworthy. Now, you see enforcement officers stop these vehicles. What do? They merely extort money from them, take money from them, and let them proceed on the journey. Some of these trucks, if you see some of the trucks, petrol-bearing trucks, your blood will boil because you know that they are not fit to move around. Some of them are bent like this. You see vehicles on your way home every day.
The axle.
Yeah, you see vehicles bent in this form. They are just one little bump on the road away from toppling over. Just one little bump. They run into a little bump.
And that's it.
And then in the process, they kill people. You see 50-foot containers being carried by flatbed trucks, not clamped. Ideally, you should not move around. Remember the case of those the students of Olabisi Onabanjo University.
Yeah, the other time that where
on the Lagos Badon Expressway,
yeah.
I think around Shagam or
Yeah.
so. Because the
container
fell on them.
Yeah.
You still see them around
Avoidably,
Lagos.
Jide.
Yes.
Avoidably.
How do security people
Allow
see
them to
such trucks and allow them to move? Some of them are going to travel hundreds of kilometers like that, unclaimed. Any little mistake, someone will pay with his life. Look at the pastor and his wife that died in Ojota, I think late last year or so. It was in the same circumstances. A truck carrying a 50-foot container ran into a little ditch on that road,
And that
and
was
then the container fell
Right
on the vehicle of this pastor, crushing him instantly. So it's just because our people, our law enforcement agents, are not enforcing the laws. Like there are tankers. If you see a healthy tanker, I need to say, if you see a healthy tanker, honestly, if it falls,
the one that appears to be
the one that, yes, healthy,
see.
there is something on top of the tank, like a crest,
okay.
that is meant to ensure that it does not spill its content in the event of an accident like that. I don't know if just a little crest. So if it falls like that, it will not spill its content until the vehicles that are going to tow it away from that area arrive. It will not spill its content. But a lot of them are very old, they are rickety. So once it falls,
Send it back.
it spills the content on the road.
You have not mentioned those devil-may-care boys who would be waiting to scoop fuel, but that's neither here nor there. Dari, let's find out. Just the other day, as he mentioned, what do you call, is it the container fell off the bridge at Ojo Elegba, not for the last time or second time.
But the one carrying
plywood.
That's it.
And just kill people.
And as we speak, vehicles are parked, he mentioned it. Do you know they have spilled over to the Onyegbo-Yaba axis?
Yes.
They're now, so where's the problem? I use the phrase you were being cautious. Is the government helpless?
I still insist that we should not propagate the helplessness of constituted
I'm not
authority.
urging you. I'm just thinking aloud. I'm sorry.
In terms of the
understand.
enforcement of his laws,
yeah,
the state government appears to be helpless.
Helpless in this situation. That's exactly what I mean. But if people will not willingly, you see, laws are made bearing in mind that people may not obey. And that's why you have punishments. There is no law, no bill goes to the assembly or state without providing, in the event that these laws are not obeyed, this is what happens.
Yeah.
So if we have the provisions to ensure that these laws are obeyed, why are we not enforcing the laws? Talking about the Ojo Elegba incident, that is a clear indication of what can happen when we fail to, obey our own laws and enforce our laws. If you go to Ojo Elegba axis now, you find trailers, tankers lining up. Yeah. These are vehicles that ordinarily should not have entered the state by this time.
In the first place?
In the first place.
All right, quickly, Tola is here. He's waiting patiently. Welcome, Tola. How are you?
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
I think everyone in the studio.
I agree too.
Yeah, please. I just want to contribute. I believe what happened yesterday, I think everybody does corrupt in this country. That's what I believe.
Excepting me.
This
I'm not involved, but go on, please.
So you have proof that it's involved.
Our law enforcement, our government, everything is corrupt. Because according to what I said, the break of that tanker was filled. That's what happened yesterday. Look at the life that just waste.
Yeah.
Because on normal days, if those people should cut, what are they going to do? They're going to take money from them. They will not arrest them. That's what they used to do.
Okay. Thank
God
you.
will just save everybody because that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Jide, let's even spread the dragnet further. Do you know we are going to likely to have insurance wahala? Now, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Most of the cars that go on Lagos roads with third-party insurance.
Let my people go.
Not many Nigerians want to do comprehensive. So it's just like wasting money at the end of the day, because what do you gain? You had an accident, your vehicle is not properly insured. You've lost everything.
It's good night.
You've lost everything. Look, insurance firms, if we had a culture of comprehensively insuring our property, including vehicles, we're supposed to insure, buildings, insure buildings against fire incidents and the rest. If we have that culture, when this kind of incidents happens, you know, those insurance firms.
Oh, they are jittery.
Yes. They will be gripped by fear that how do we pay quickly, how do we do this and all that. So they would want to see a situation in which cars stay healthy, cars don't get stolen, cars don't catch fire, you know, so that they will not have to come and pay what's it called, claims and all that, insurance claims. But I can tell you that most of those vehicles that you saw, you know,
in some cases, fourth party.
yes, well, third party, four and a half. You know?
No party.
So it's still talking about enforcement, because we will never be able to say this kind of thing will not happen again unless the issue of enforcement is addressed.
You are not being prophetic. You are capturing us in our elements.
That's what will happen. I'm just saying what will happen. It's not. This is a very easy prediction to make. This thing will happen again, because, look, these vehicles have been told don't come in daytime. And it's not only Lagos that has come up with a law like this. Ogun State has a law. Even tippers.
Yeah.
Tipper drivers are not supposed to drive in daytime in Ogun State. All those ones that go and pack sand and all that. It's only in the night. All the ones, yes, the ones who go to carry granite and all, they are supposed to operate in the night. At that time, the roads are relatively free. Chances of accidents, you know, are remote or reduced. Let me not say remote. You know, so, but these guys know that enforcement, that the devil is in the enforcement of those laws. Look at when Fashola was going to come up with the law limiting the areas that, where you can actually, where Okada riders can ply their trade. He said, my biggest concern is enforcement. I don't want to come up with a law that cannot be enforced, because people are pushing him to ban Okada outright, because Okada had been banned in some states in Nigeria, including even Kano, where I never thought you could ever ban Okada. But in the heat of the Boko Haram insurgency, Okada was banned in Kano. And Kano used to have the highest number of Okada riders in Nigeria.
Took over from my state.
Yes.
And
it actually began.
No royalties paid.
Your state introduced Okada as a means of transportation.
Veritable means.
Even bicycle. Your state introduced bicycle as a means of transportation back then, and then introduced Okada.
We should ask for reparation.
Yeah, you have a history of force. I must admit that you have a history of force. So, but today, because that law cannot be enforced, it's a problem for us. These tanker drivers, they are so headstrong. You park on the bridges, you put your dead weight.
Are you listening to yourself? A group of people stronger than the state.
Many times, the Lagos government officials,
only here.
Lagos government officials have said, look, we want these people to leave that place so that we can fix the road, but they've refused to leave. They keep lamenting. What you fail to hear is that, oh, if they don't leave this whole time, we take action. If they take action, they will go on strike. Their strike inflicts pain on you and I. Our people will start saying, no, why did you do this to them? You remember they once told dozens of their trucks.
All right, I'm told we must pass over. But then let the debate continue. Let it continue. Very healthy debate. Should we enforce our laws? Come up with the answer. Now, still to come, Imo State crisis deepens as State Assembly suspends 4 lawmakers. We'll be back shortly. All right then, Politics in Nigeria, I needn't tell you, is merely a strife of vested interest, masquerading as a contest of principles. The unfolding political theatrics in Imo State is heading for a creaking crescendo. Lawmakers representing Deputy Governor Eze Madumere and Senator Ifeanyi Ararume's constituencies at the State Assembly have been suspended. The four affected legislators are Chiji Collins, representing Isiala Mbano, Nkenna Nzero, Oru East, and Uche Ogweke Ikeduru constituencies, loyal to Senator Ararume, and on the other hand, Ifeanyi Nnatonye, representing the Deputy Governor, have been kicked. The major reason is on parliamentary conduct. The coming days are expectant, Jide. On parliamentary conduct. Here we go again.
Yeah, who defines what really is on parliamentary conduct? On parliamentary conduct, by whose standard? That is the question to ask. The state has been moving from one crisis to another, and I can only caution that if care is not taken at the rate they are going in Imo State history could be written in blood if care is not taken, because this whole thing would degenerate. In the assembly, they degenerated into fisticuffs. This whole crisis would degenerate into thugs taking on one another, and if they are not careful, people may pay with their lives. So the leading lights in the state, the governor, the deputy governor, and their supporters need to be cautioned so that they don't lead, they don't precipitate a serious violent combustion in that state, because all the telltale signs are there. At the rate, you know, it all began with the Congress, the World Congress, where the governor was effectively snookered by people who had been loyal to him for years. And now they came back from the National Convention. The governor was able to score a decisive victory over Osita Izunaso, who was the organizing secretary of the APC at the national level, because he felt that Osita caused all the wahala that he had to go through. So the governor and his supporters made sure, including state governors, made sure that Osita was defeated by the governor's candidate in that
The Congress.
Yes. But soon after they returned from the Congress, the chairman of the APC in the state kept saying, look, there is no room for peace between me and Okorocha. There's no peace for now, this and that. So now we have a situation in which those lawmakers have been suspended. Okay. When you see the people suspended and the constituencies that they represent, then you start saying, is this not political? Is this not meant to punish people for not being loyal to the governor or for being close to the governor's enemies? Because this is what it looks like. Yes, the governor's supporters can argue about the assembly that came up with the punishment, can also argue. But if the cousin of the deputy governor, who is the leader of what they call the Allied Forces, the group against
underlying forces.
Yes. So if someone who is the cousin of the deputy governor was suspended, then you start thinking,
the battle
yes, that there's a reason behind. There's a reason behind this. What some people are saying is that this is a plan to eventually impeach the deputy governor. If the deputy governor gets impeached, honestly, I will not be surprised. And it won't be the first time, because the man before him was similarly impeached.
For him to come in.
If the governor of a state and his constituents are at loggerheads, politically or otherwise, should you topple the apple cart?
The inability of our own politicians to play politics with decorum is what usually lead to situations like this. In Imo, the ruling party needs to be very, very careful. I'm talking about the APC. Because there is a scenario in Imo that speaks volume. The leadership of the party, through the zonal leadership in the Southeast, just yesterday instituted reconciliation committees, specifically for the Southeast in general, and particularly for Imo State. Chairmen and secretaries and members of committees have been instituted. Barely 24 hours after that, we are seeing this. We are seeing this because people are comfortable cutting the grass just at the top, leaving the roots. The APC secretariat in Imo State is up to this moment still occupied by a factional chairman loyal to the governor. Even after the national leadership of the party has sworn in someone else.
Yeah.
That's a scenario that does not portend peace and reconciliation. That is one. Two, the 1-1 goal, like some of my friends will say when we watch football, 1-1 goalless draw scenario in Imo, where you have taken over the leadership of the party in the state, have removed our representative at the national level. I now have the organizing secretary in my kitty.
Yeah.
Can only fan the embers of more troubles. Because now Okorosha's man at the national will work against the state chairman's ideas and ambitions. This has spilled into the state assembly, where what we are now seeing are revenge moves. And we should equally expect counter revenge moves. Okay. Because the 4 lawmakers removed are loyalists of those who opposed to the governor.
So
the speaker, the speaker for a while, before about a week or 2 ago, did announce or did threatened that those who are working against the state, in quote, we know who the state is in this situation.
Lose the system.
Against the state will not find it funny, as they will not tolerate them. When we now find words like unparliamentary conduct. You see, it was the late Sikira Inde barrister who sang some years ago that in Nigeria, when we want to change the scenario, we come with big grammar. He said it was governorship we used to hear. Then we started hearing gubernatorial. It used to be chairman and chair lady. We started hearing chairperson. Now, another grammar of vocabulary is just on parliamentary conduct. How do you set up a committee or a panel that would define this?
No, the panel, you are not initiated.
Oh.
It is the people in the assembly
that who are
initiated,
who will
be able to define what is parliamentary and what is unparliamentary.
That those who have been punished will not be able to defend themselves.
They are the authors of the phrase.
Yes.
It's unfortunate.
But I guess there's some trouble, if not a problem, with being a full-time politician in Nigeria. What do I mean? A man dies and lives and dies solely for politics. If you were a medical doctor, you go into politics, your life ends there. So it means there's no life after politics. But we have this commercial break. We'll take it and come back. Please stay. Okay then, welcome back. Let's stay in Imo State. Jida just asked, why our politicians prefer to remain professional politicians as opposed to, I thought each of them had a vocation before going into politics.
But even if they had a vocation, once they get deeply involved in politics, the vocation suffers. You see medical doctors who have not practiced for 30 years, you know. I wonder if some of them can actually give anyone an injection at this stage without causing abscess. You know? So it's just, politics is so tempting for our people that they don't want. It's like a musician. A musician will tell you that musicians don't retire. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. I know a politician who was a medical doctor who today has closed down his medical facility.
I know a politician who is the number 3 man in the country.
Yes. Who is not known to have practiced even for one day. Many people can't really point to the fact that he practiced anywhere, you know. But he's a qualified physician.
I know a number 5 man, Deputy Senate President, who is a lawyer.
But you can't remember the last time he defended someone in court.
Well, probably
So
he has a chamber and somebody's running it for him.
You see, the perks that being in politics offers the politically powerful is too tempting to want to give up politics for one day. That's why they don't retire. They are, even when they are in their 90s, they are still playing politics. They are still installing their puppets.
They're still youth leaders at 70 plus. And
yes, youth leaders who are older than me.
Yeah, 64.
You had
64-year-old youth leader.
Yes, I saw someone in Ogun State the other day,
know.
and we were arguing. We were arguing. You know, it was at a wedding.
Oh.
I said, "Why are you people still calling yourself youth leaders?" He said, "The people before us were older than us, and they were addressed as youth leaders." Yes. What are you telling me? So I said, I give up.
Yes. When they ought to have been called youth leaders, some people refuse to retire.
Yeah.
So they will also use the tenure of their own children.
So this is
and all you know, gentlemen, all you don't know is it's the youth in those old men that keep hounding them. No gree, and no gree. So let's begin to take it home. Imo State in the coming days, especially approaching a general election, you don't see, the battle line seems to have been drawn in the sand.
Yes.
So all is not well.
All is not well. And like JJ said,
all parties
for all parties in this situation. And like JJ said, if this, we can, there are what we call indications. The indications are not healthy. There are indications that a possible move may be made for the deputy governor. If this happens, the battle line will not just be drawn. The battle will go on the streets. Imo is known as a very volatile, to be very politically volatile. Imo specifically even. And leaders of the ruling party, elders in Imo State, should move. And you should not also ignore the fact that Madumere, the man we are talking about, has been with Okorosha for donkey years.
Yes.
Here are 2 men who have played this game on the same side for so long.
And they are familiar with
the terrain. It is like 2 well-known killers going their separate ways and declaring war on one another. It won't be easy.
Not as killers.
No,
hold on. Let me cite former Governor Rotimi Amechi
and Wike,
who was his chief of staff.
In fact, you are just painted
former governor, the Abia governor and his former deputy.
Yes, Theophilus Theodoji.
Also former Governor Gbenga Daniel and his ally Kashamu. You can see how far the battles went. That is the scenario we are laying the foundation for in Imo. And it will be terrible because not only the assembly, it's not only in the assembly you have people lining up between these 2 camps, on the streets, within the party, in the palaces of the royal fathers.
Parties, the big political figures have taken sides
in this matter. And
former
so would be the so-called big boys in the state. And if we allow this to degenerate, it will not go well for the state. It may not go well for the state.
All right, we have a Taiwo from Yobe State. Taiwo, welcome.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, join the fray. Let's go.
Yeah, I want to quickly contribute on the accident that happened yesterday in Lagos.
No. Oga, don't take us. Please, this is not to discredit what you are saying, but we are in Imo. We are in Imo. All right, so I was going to say, as we coast home, Jide and Dare, at a time when the National Assembly has just passed the not too young to rule law. What lesson are they teaching these not too young ones?
They are telling them that, look, Nigerian politics is a winner-takes-all affair. That the Nigerian politician believes that he should not give any quotas, should not yield any quotas to anyone. They are telling the young people that, look, whatever it takes to grab power, just do it.
And stay there.
Yeah, just do it and stay there. Take on anyone, take on anybody who wants to confront you. Make sure that you get victory in the end. The end justifies the means. You know, the Machiavellian tactics.
Yeah.
The Nigerian politician is adept at deploying Machiavellian tactics. And you see it, you see them use Machiavellian tactics everywhere. A politician was telling me the other day, said, Jide, I see you talk a lot of rubbish. See, in politics, if you have the opportunity to crush the enemy, don't waste any time. Crush that enemy totally.
That's Machiavellian.
Yes, so he told me.
But you should have told him only in Nigeria. Because I'm wondering, Dari, if Jimmy Carter is still in the game. Is now, we talk about godfathers, father figures. We don't have them.
We don't, because
we don't allow them in Nigeria.
No,
Because
they too do not sit. They too do not sit in the position of father figures. Old men who should naturally sit back and watch younger people run politics. They are the ones causing trouble. They are the ones creating division between people. They are the ones even behind some of the violence going on in our country. So how do you then begin to see them as old people worthy of being respected, worthy of being consulted for advice and all that? The advice that they are even going to give you ultimately will not be a good one, because they will advise you to take to violence, because that's what they've been used to all their lives. So it's a terrible thing. The nature of politics in Nigeria has to change. I know that it can't change under the current generation. Maybe 3 or 4 election cycles, then we'll begin to see real change, and politics will be played decently. But the people who play politics at this time, they are far from decent. So because they are far from decent, they can't play decent politics.
Dari, in the words of Albert Einstein, I hope I can capture it vividly. He said something like, if you cannot explain a situation to a 6-year-old boy, then everything is lost. What we have in our country, you can't explain to your 6-year-old boy, or can you?
Well, what I would not want to admit that we are gradually losing everything, because even a 20-year-old man may not find it easy understanding what we have in our country today. Okay. And it's all due to the way we have played politics.
And they are, you know, the worst thing is they are turning the young people away from politics by the manner in which they are playing it.
Because they want to
not making the game attractive.
It's not attractive.
They are not making the game attractive to younger people.
You sign the not too young to run bill, yet
and you are not paving the path for the young.
There is no platform.
Okay, all right, gentlemen. Again, the debate must continue, but we wish Imo State very, very well. We have a maxim we want to leave for politicians, taking off from Imo. There's life after office. Okay, in what readily reminds one of the late crooner Sonny Okosun's epic recording, Papa's Land, we rather sadly report an unnerving communal clash that has enveloped 2 states on the southeastern fringe of our country. In Abakaliki area of EBONYI State, no less than 7,000 people of the Easy local government area have become displaced, while in Ukele, in northern Cross River, tens of people are known to have been dislodged following the cross-border skirmish. Casualties on both sides are said to be over 100. Cause of trouble, Jide, who owns the land?
Yes, that's the song that is sang. Who owns Papa's land?
Papa's land.
We want to know, we want to know who owns Papa's land. You see, the manner in which we create states, or we created states, is to blame for some of the problems that we have.
If not most.
We create states without bearing in mind the cultural contiguity of the people, yes, who are supposed to come together as one. We create states, people they don't understand the same language, and at the end of the day,
You lump them
you
together.
you lump them together. People who have no cultural affinity of any kind, no linguistic affinity, they don't share anything in common. So by the time you are through with creating these states, and without some solid means of identifying the boundaries of these states, definitely people will quarrel. I know a state where once you move like 100 meters, you are back in the territory of another state. You understand? Because it was not designed properly. I know a community that is actually in Kano State now that ought to be in Jigawa State. Maybe
That's in the northern
yes,
fringe.
maybe someone just said no, I don't want to be part of Jigawa. Leave me in Kano. But you have to go through on parts of Jigawa to get to that community.
And you want
So you wonder what was the wisdom in doing that. Kano people will know the town that I'm talking about, but I don't want to mention the town. You wonder why we had to do that. Now, people are killing themselves over farmlands. This is what is happening. So how long will it take the Boundary Commission to complete its work and show clearly?
Is it a standing committee?
The Boundary Commission is a commission.
Okay.
Yes,
Like
it's a
any
commission.
other
There,
serious
people are there working every day. They go to work every day. You know, so they need to complete the work. Let these two states know the boundary, know where their own their land ends and all that, so that this needless bloodshed, because it's been there for years.
Yeah, okay, talk about curing the cause. Dari, I'm taking you take you back to the infamous Ife Modakeke Wahala, the ignominious Aguleri-Umuleri border clashes, and then to Taraba, you have the Tarok and which is the other group? The two groups feuding. Feuding over time. So
You see, it just boils down to
Danjuma's people.
It boils down to something he said. Our style of, copying things. We notice that they create states abroad, and in other countries, and we also want to create states, and we go about it in such manners that leaves so much to be desired. You've mentioned Ife Modakeke and other skirmishes in the past. If we had done the right thing with those ones, we won't be here today talking about this.
yeah.
Let us even look critically at what is happening in this community we are talking about. We have the people who are in Ebonyi, and you have the Easy in Ebonyi, and you have the Ukele in Cross River.
Yeah.
So these two communities are not even in the same state. They are border towns. But like Jide said, the truth of the matter is these are people, they are just one people. I read through what is happening. It would have been safer and more peaceful if they had found themselves in just one state.
Yes.
Rather than divide one community and you cannot give them a boundary. What has happened here is that they ought to be together. Now you have divided them into two states, not just two states, two different local governments. Now define the boundary. You cannot. It has become difficult. And this is not a new case. This has been on since 2005.
Yes.
The boundary, the commission has been invited since 2005 December to look into this issue and define a boundary. Since 2005, we've had successive administrations ignoring the danger going on.
Let me take you not too far back into the Abacha regime.
Okay.
You remember Ogbijo and Ogidigbe? Politics.
Yes.
Part of this.
Politics plays a major role. Let me tell you, the commission probably already know what the issue is, but some powerful politicians feeling that, oh, if they implement this recommendation, 2 wards or 2 polling units where I usually win a lot of votes will be sent to a state where I'm not contesting. Okay. They will prevent the implementation. We have scenarios like that. Here in Lagos, between Lagos and Ogun, if you go through Ikorodu and you pass the Ogijo axis, when you get to Italuwo, there's a community there called Agbede, Italuwo bus stop. Once you enter that road, the houses here are Lagos State. The houses here are Ogun State. In Lagos, they belong to the same ward. Even those in Ogun. In Ogun, the ones in Lagos also, you find these people voting in 2 states. Local government election in Ogun, they will vote. Local government election in Lagos, they will vote.
Till tomorrow?
Till tomorrow. I have
it's the same thing here, even in Ojodu here.
Ojodu,
you see on this side is Lagos. This other side is
Ifo local government.
Ogun State.
This one is
I take it to
has
my
to
state.
be proper delineation.
No proper delineation.
There's a place called, Ikorofiong. Okay. It's between my state, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River. The frontage, Akwa Ibom, backyard, na Cross River. And when the skirmishes start, nobody knows who is who.
And 2 brothers will end up killing themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Fighting unnecessarily because of something that. So what we are saying is, we look at how far back we went. How many years ago was that? And in 2018, we still have 2 communities. In other countries, all they do, is to go to the map, then they bring some computers and they say, oh, this is the delineation.
And then, the way they do it, to be the state capital, you have to be centrally located.
Oh, yeah.
But everything we do is
politics. It is anywhere.
Look at Asaba. Look at Asaba.
And the dead end.
Asaba is at the end of the state. That's where you took the state capital to.
No, I don't. Look at Abakaliki itself.
No, be made take.
Okay, metaphorically.
Okay. Look at Abakaliki we are talking about.
That's where Babangida took the state capital to.
For only God knows
and
why.
Then some people will need to travel like 4 hours
to get to part of their state
capital.
It shouldn't be like that. When they created states back then, it was Adeja State that people asked for.
They gave them Niger.
Adeja State. But Abacha had a misunderstanding with the then Minister of FCT, Hamza Abdullahi, who is a native of Adeja.
Okay.
At the last minute, the map was redrawn. And he ensured that Adeja State was not created. By not creating Adeja State, they lost the opportunity to be the state capital. And then they created Jigawa State. Jigawa State. And then put the state capital in Duse.
Let me tell you,
how and you know what happened? The people were so angry because word went out that the opportunity for them to be the state capital was lost because of the quarrel between their son and no, because it was Babangida that was even
then the chief of
now the people now stormed Hamza Abdullahi's house and destroyed his things and all that.
Cost them the
I remember going back to my state when states were created by Babangida. Oron was the last local government to be announced. At that point, one was not too sure. Meanwhile, Oron is on the mainland, is in Akwa Ibom. People thought it was going to be ceded to Cross River. Geographically, it was going to be very wrong, and so we are reading politics, a lot more politics than we should have done into this matter.
Yes, so it is this politics that creates the problem we face.
And the bloodletting.
If politicians will face fact and avoid being mischievous, will prevent a lot of bloodletting. The people of Cross River and EBONYI are at each other's throats today, killing. The governors are yet to find answers to something that should easily have been discussed on the round table. Oh, come, this is where it ends. But it is dangerous, it is difficult, it is nearly impossible where politicians are always looking at personal interest.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Personal interest.
And where they are not ready to yield in any way, make any concession.
Political advantages. And then it leads us into this kind of carnages.
We buried?
Yes, I just think that this is one death too many. We hear that in the last 6 months in 17 states, 1,813 Nigerians have died. And then we had this. If our people challenged us, you keep talking about Plateau. When are you going to talk about what happened in EBONYI, between EBONYI and...
By the way, they're still killing in my state as I sit here, Akwa Ibom State. Just go on.
I just think that we should do the right thing. Let the disputed part, the disputed portion, between those two states, they should put enough soldiers there, as the deputy governor of EBONYI has pleaded. Because before you know it, this will be a flat-out battle between two states. Before it degenerates into that, they should put enough security men there to stop this bloodletting. Too many people are dying in Nigeria every day. It has to stop.
Lives.
We can't be killing people in Plateau, killing people in Zamfara, killing people in Breningwari, killing people in Ibadan, killing people everywhere. No, we can't continue like this. It has to stop.
And so any new man angling to come into politics must be persuaded on why he wants to go into politics. Yes. Is it as a part-time thing or as a vocation? Which begs the question, when will the National Assembly visit or consider something like that? Make politics a part-time business as they have in America, since we tend to copy America.
Well, maybe one of these days, yeah. We started in not too young.
With these people.
Oh, not too young to run as if it will never.
No, it's about their interests.
But, I mean, Nigeria, what I want to say is if we must copy, let's copy well.
No, when you copy, don't paste.
Don't paste. Copy well. And if you have to copy well, you'll have to check. But when you aren't copying well, you copy and paste. Copy well. Go through it. Scrutinize it. Pick the good ones and implement it. We can have retirees and part-time people in politics.
You know what I want to see?
We can.
That National Assembly. I want to see people who have made it in corporate Nigeria. There are a lot of those issues they understand. There should be a set standard before you can get into that place. People who have the requisite knowledge,
who have gone through the training,
they've run corporations, they've run blue chip companies.
Senior civil servants who are retired.
Should be there, not just
fresh
anybody.
Graduate is discussing job creation. What does he know about that?
I'm glad we are not thinking of an institute of chartered politicians in Nigeria.
Well, if the way we are going, we may end up there.
Because the former governor of Abia proposed the idea,
I'm sure all the people listening to it when he said that, they knew that it was not
flying
taken seriously.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody took him seriously.
All right, then, for the politician in Nigeria, there's still time. You can still turn over a new leaf. It's not late. Jide, let me thank you for another interesting week.
I thank you.
But although my heart bleeds, for all the deaths we have recorded in the last 1 week, avoidably.
Across the country.
Across the country. Dari Odufor, many thanks.
Thank you.
Let's hope it will be a better week next week.
Yes. Let's hope there won't be bloodletting.
Let's hope the killings will stop.
That's it on the program. Join us next week for another episode of the program. And then, of course, you can watch a repeat broadcast of this particular edition at 11 this evening. And also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen at the moment, and on YouTube at youtube.com/News Nigeria TVC. Journalist Hangout, TVC News, and so on and so on. Let me thank you. I am Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.